what we are seeing, although in our, let's bring it up now, in our sort of insights that we monitor. 2 seconds. What was that? So up 3% in terms of revenue, not a massive number, although user numbers were down 10%, so that's good. You'll see transactions were down significantly, so average order value has gone up.
Wow,
that's really good.
This is across all the clients that you work with.
That's right, yeah. Probably more so for Daikin members. It's these numbers that are going to be more useful, and they were showing. So if this is sort of the retail sector. This is the service economy. 60% increase in form submissions. 14% increase in phone link click. That is significant. What we saw across 2024 was a continual decline. So at the beginning of 25. January through April, what we saw was sort of an incline that was erasing sort of what had happened last year. May and June, so this number's up and May was up too. What this says is that May and June have actually seen significant increase in inquiry. So yes, inquiry is there, but we're not seeing that translate quite yet into conversion for our clients. So it shows that the energy is there. It shows that people are interested in making decisions, but I think that they're most likely going to wait until that spring period has come upon us. So look, these are good numbers. Really glad to see that. But of course,
our numbers were pretty awesome.
You got a great team working
as Caroline said, she goes, if I had this for every client, I'd be pretty happy.
Look, I think it goes a long way. The brand, the quality of the product, and that'll be true of any business, right? So obviously that's working quite well. Coldrite.
Thanks for just a bit of a background. We did a bit of a road show, and Coldrite's one of our top sort of 5 dealers in the country. The owner of the business is sort of early 70s. He's a big spender on advertising and that. And he sort of, when I met with him, he said, "Look, Peter, I'm sort of need some new fresh ideas. I need, what should I be doing that I'm not doing? What am I doing well? What am I not doing well?" So I've started putting a few notes together, and I said to Caroline, I said, "Oh, look, if you had an hour or two, could you just have a bit of a look because I said to this guy, I'd get you guys to look at it before telling her." But it was just sort of to give him some external feedback as well that just wasn't coming from me.
And that's recorded on this call's been recorded so that we can you can pass it through to him and then he can hear it from me as well.
Perfect.
I would say that the number one issue straight off the bat is this 3-star review, and that's on 28 reviews. Now,
exactly.
This is the second business that I have seen probably in the last 10 years that's at below 4%. And you can advertise all day long. You spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, let alone a year, and you're going to have a real problem with engaging a consumer to trust the brand. If there is another review that's negative, it's going to go below 3%, and that I haven't seen. It really speaks to some problems. Now, whether or not those problems are true, it doesn't really matter. It's what the consumer is thinking. So if we go have a look at this, first and foremost, there's been no responses to the reviews, right? So half-hour job at charge for 3 hours. I mean, look, this person's just ranting. And the problem is that once you get a series of negative reviews, it opens the floodgates for people. I mean, a lot of these won't actually be fear. Like if you look at this, technician charged for 3 hours, said the technician has traveled only 30 minutes away. So that's an hour right there. And then the job took no doubt 2 hours. So, I mean, to me, 3 hours is a pretty reasonable amount of time. Even just responding to that with that and saying, hey, well, it was a half hour there, half hour back, that's an hour. The job was 2 hours, so the job to call up was 3 hours.
It was 20 kilometers, or it was,
And this one here sold me a heat pump that's way underpowered. like, okay, I don't know, but I doubt that that's likely. This one here 10 months ago, same sort of thing. So what is happening is that it's a really negative
Yes.
viewpoint. And so
Yeah.
ads might be being sent to this site, but people won't convert.
Okay.
Right. So you will
look,
get some, don't get me wrong, you'll get some coming through. So then we go down a bit further and I have a look, and there's no what I'd call padding on this particular listing. So if we come along and go for ours, we have products. So what we actually do. So that's there. And then when we come down, we have posts that we put on. We have an about us. So
yes.
Google has a view that we're actually engaging with this listing on a regular basis. And at the moment, that's not taking place for the business. So yeah, before I even get to the site, we've got some problems that need to be addressed. And there's a methodology that we can go about. For the site's actually pretty good, right?
Yes.
Like I don't have any real issue with the site if I look at what it's built with. It decides it wants to load. Looks like it's a WordPress website. It is WordPress.
And the business has been around a very long time. It's a very reputable business. They know their stuff. So it's well known within the local Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's been around for such a long time, yet that's not what's being represented. I mean, the Hawke's Bay is a growing region. There are people that won't know the lineage of the business that are moving into the area that want to get their home or their rental renovated and get some heat pump action in there or maintenance of one, and they will look at that review and not have a positive viewpoint of the business. However, coming to the site itself, look, the site looks good to me.
Yes.
Good call to actions. Like, I think that there's everything's in here that you'd want it to be in here. So the site itself, probably not a lot of work. Maybe what I would say is like a landing page for particular promos. So what promos are being done at this point in time. So straight off the bat, winter promo. It's a bit late, but today the healthy home standards kicked in. So, is there a target toward rentals? That sort of behavior, because if you have an ad that says specifically, hey, it's a winter promo, installation will be 15% off, or get a free box of beers with every install, whatever it is that the promo is. Don't send them to the home page or the air conditioning page. Send them to the promo page, because then it's going to resonate. They're like, okay, this is it. And go in the drawer. And I think we did this last year. Well, we did do this last year for Daikin head office, where we had a promo and we absolutely smashed the metrics. I think I talked to you about this. I need to get Steffi to fill you in about what it was for. And it was sign up to go on the draw to win. I think it was a rebate, a financial rebate. And we had a specific landing page for that, and we were getting conversions. People were signing up. And so what you might be saying is go on the draw to win this. But what we're doing is getting email addresses that we can market to. We know that they are in market for an air conditioner. Therefore, yes, we might be giving away a token gesture, but we've induced to get the email, the phone number, which the sales team can then follow up. So on the site, like I said, nothing really outside of maybe a bit of a touch up in terms of, has their content been updated? I can't see this publicly. I would suspect that there does need to be some edits to the pages and republishing, because Google likes fresh content, and so it will rank it higher. But then what we've got to remember that in the Hawke's Bay, though it is a growing region, it is also still a smaller region. And so how many people, I don't know how many people are actually competing against Coldrite in the area. Are we talking about 15, 20 other businesses, do you think? Obviously of all types.
Possibly, yes, because you have electricians doing some of this work and stuff, but there'd probably be 2 or 3 big ones in the region. I from what I understand.
Yeah. So then when I have a look at the Tag Assistant, what this product shows me is what's actually installed in the back end of the website. And this is where some of the problems kick in, and which will lead to the advertising not working correctly. So you'll see it's saying that there are 5 tags found. Now, there are effectively 3 different types of tags without getting too technical. 2 are tag managers. A tag manager is a container that the tags sit in. So it just means we can put a whole bunch of tags inside of a container. You should not have 2 containers on the site. You should just have the one. Okay. So the first container isn't published anyway, which means that it's not doing anything. This slows down the load time of the site and ultimately affects the search ranking. So if we don't need it, we shouldn't have it. And then the second one, it's not enabled for debugging, which means that it's not public. And if it's not public, then it's not doing the job, because I should be able to see what's going on in the back end of this. Okay. So I immediately have a technical problem with the way the tracking is occurring. And this has a direct bearing on the value of the advertising, because if we don't have the right machine learning for the ads, we will not be getting a good return.
Okay.
Then when we have a look at the this tag here, this tag died in mid-2023, so it's 2 years old. That's what this UA stands for, Universal Analytics. So this no longer exists and hasn't done for 2 years. It needs to be removed, shouldn't be there.
Okay.
This one here, this is an auto upgrade of this tag here, which means that no one ever configured this tag, which again means that the conversions that are being driven into the ad platform will not exist. Google will make up the conversion value. It will say, today it's sunny, I'm going to charge you $10 per click. Tomorrow it's cold, I'm going to charge you $15 per click. What either of those metrics have to do with someone who is interested in buying a heat pump? Don't know. What we want is Google to say, we have 5,000 data points below any user at any given time. We know this person searched for a heat pump last week. We know that they emailed their wife using their Gmail account saying, hi, honey, I found this heat pump, which looks good. Google immediately knows they're in market. Someone goes and searches for heat pump installation Hawke's Bay. Coldrite shows up.
Okay.
Because we're feeding in the machine learning of this particular attributes that we want from the user base. And then we have this AdWord container with AdWord tag. AdWord tags sort of died with the arc. We wouldn't use them. They used to have presence, say 10 years ago when analytics and ads weren't connected, but taking just the ad data and feeding it back into the ad platform is working, with your hand tied behind your back. You really want all website traffic. Anyone who comes to the website should be creating lists for your audience and your ads, right? Like if you, let's say that 25% of your traffic that comes to the site is advertising. If you're feeding your ad tag back into ads, it means you're only ever looking at 25% of your total audience. Whereas if you use an analytics tag and feed that back into the ad platform, you're using 100% of your audience and learning a lot more about who's of value and who's not. So this gives rise to me saying, okay, whoever's doing the advertising at the moment is doing a job, but I don't think that when I look at this, a particularly good one. So what this allows me to see is I can plug in a website and see whether or not they're advertising. Now, at the moment, it's saying that they're not advertising. And the reason for this, and I'm going to try all the different ways, the reason for this is because they are working with a company who is doing it under their own brand and on behalf of Coldrite. Coldrite should own their account, and so therefore I should see any advertising they're running. So if I was to look at, say, Wonks here.
It didn't come up for me either, Jeff.
Because it's because whoever company they're working for, working with, it's not doing it. So you see, I can see all my ads that are running at the moment. Yes. So this is our YouTube ad. This is the demand gen ad, and these are 2 display ads. I'd imagine. Oops, that's America. So no, that's New Zealand. Cool. So we can see all your ads. So why can we not see Coldrite's ads? Now that either is because they're not running ads, which I don't believe is true, or more likely, the company that they are working with is saying, let's say it's Acme Digital. Acme Digital currently is running the ads on behalf of, which is poor practice.
Okay.
It should be under Coldrite's account.
Correct.
Right? And then, as I said, these tags don't seem to be configured correctly.
Okay.
Now, if I can't see what the ads are, I guarantee you that the ads that are being run at the moment are not best practice. They won't be performance max. This tag manager account won't be using consent mode, which means, I mean, there's so many, Google has to be a global player. And in Europe, there's the GDPR data policy. You have to tell users that you're tracking them, right? It's illegal to do so otherwise. So you've got to opt into this consent mode to say I'm consenting to international best practice in terms of how I track my users. That's not likely to be happening here, just because I'm just seeing it being very poorly run. If I go to Facebook.
It was funny because one of the clients, one of the dealers I visited in Wellington, their Google reviews are unbelievable, but the staff are incentivized to get great reviews, and the boss, even if they can get a photo with the client, he incentivizes them even more.
Wow.
And they're doing a great job on it, and they're living and breathing off those Google reviews.
Absolutely,
So,
and that's fantastic. And we have a product, well, a series of PDFs, should I say, that we can send you, so you can have them, you can pass them through to other dealers, but also to dealers, full stop. So right now it's saying that there are no active ads for them.
Okay.
So again, why is this is their page, right? And when I go through to it, it is not, and what I did there was I went to About, and then I went to page transparency, and I can see that it was created, 11 years ago. Fantastic. That would probably be about right. I go to the ad library. Well, why am I not seeing it? So you see here, I don't see any ads on Google, and I don't see any ads on Facebook, but they're clearly spending money, right? But
yes.
why are we not seeing them spend money? This is what I think is, there are serious issues just on that alone. If I was to go, you're not running ads at Facebook at the moment, but you'd see if you were.
Not.
Sure, I thought you would be. Sometimes I'll check to see, but I would have thought that they would be here. Are you running ads?
I think we are. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we are. Yep.
Oh, that's not showing up. Well, that goes to show that sometimes it's not perfect. Daikin New Zealand.
Yeah, no, definitely got some at the moment. Yep.
Yeah, why is it saying that?
Is it Daikin NZ?
It's not working anyway. Nonetheless, what needs to happen is for the back end of Coldrite to be able to be seen. So then my question there is, what kind of reporting do they currently get regarding the do you know?
No, I don't. No, I'm not.
And then off the back of that, do they own the ads? Right, I'm not sure if they would. And if they don't, how are they going to improve those? So that's where there's a series of questions. I see that there are serious issues in the way that the company is being represented online. There are serious issues with the way that the technical back end is running, and then I have serious questions about the outcome of the ads. The one thing that is working well is the website looks good, and
Yes.
if the company that's doing all the other back end is doing the website, they obviously know really well about websites, and that's great, and they've done a good job with that, but they don't understand the back end, and therefore they're not getting results for the client.
Right. No, this is great. This is awesome feedback for them. They'll definitely appreciate this, and yeah. I just looking through my notes here when I met with Jim. Yeah, I think we identified Google. I know they do a lot of radio. Radio is a big thing for them.
Mhm.
They were doing things like newspaper, but I think they realise now that's sort of a dying sort of market, for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the for me the Google reviews, yeah, we could definitely. I've got ideas, and I'm sure you have as well, as to what they can do better there. They're very big and very big and with the rugby sponsorship. That they've got their billboards all around the rugby down at the Hawke's Bay. They're very big supporters in that sort of sector as well. But yeah, I've got a few other ideas for Jim. Things like especially around the other above the line media, around doing some weather reports and those kind of things. And but definitely we've got to get this Google better for them.
We need to get the audience lists correct, right? Because they should be targeting all their competitors, but they should also, because they're driving, and we don't know how much traffic is going to the site. If we knew how much traffic was going to the site, then we'd be able to tell, okay, we're getting a lot from radio.
Yes.
Therefore, we should have what's called remarketing, which is the ads that follow the user around after they've been to the site. And they should be, leveraging the fact that they have that rugby sponsorship in some way, long-standing, investing back into the community, the community, that sort of language. So I think that where you would start with this is the data health kit, because that is not rocking the boat. It doesn't mean that we are dislodging their existing provider. It just means that we're gaining access on behalf of Coldrite. They would own all the data, but then we would be able to work with yourself. And who'd you say the owner was?
Jim Bullock.
Yeah.
So we'd be able to work with Jim and go, here is objectively your starting point. This is what we recommend moving forward, but it is your choice what you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when he sees a lot of the information you've just provided, I think, and his daughter, I think when they look at it, they'll go, oh, okay, we've got things we need to urgently improve on quickly. Yeah, that's really valuable feedback for them.
And it's not uncommon for businesses to work with we've done work with them. I can't tell we've changed our system. I tried to log into the account, but they changed the password when we handed it over to them. And I think that's just been wound down and not being used anymore, which is not uncommon. But what tends to happen here is that they, and quite rightly, place their trust in a provider to do a particular job, but that provider might not have the skill sets to work the length and breadth. And I had this conversation yesterday with a very small provider, a very small client. We wound them down and handed over their master list. The current business that they are going to work with has no idea what they're doing. They're using the wrong language. They were saying we hadn't given them access. And I was like, well, with all due respect, I'm not going to do their job for them. They have access. The fact that they don't know how to do something that is, basically 101 shows to me that they're just going to take your money. They have no interest in a long-term relationship, but that particular, he's a plumber. He doesn't know. He's never going to know. And so I had a call with him last week, and I said, look, these are my observations. We worked together for 5 years. It's time for a change for you. Completely understand that.
Yeah.
But in good conscience, I also have to tell you that the provider that you're going to is not reputable. They're not going to deliver for you. And again, clients can make whichever choice that they want, but they're never going to know if they are getting the right service or not. And so situations like I'm seeing today are quite common. As I said, someone might have a skill set in one particular area and they sell the dream, but actually there's a big difference between what is best practice and what can minimally be delivered. And in fact, one of the things that I will talk to you about, and I'll just stop the recording because this is just about being down in Wellington later in August. I'll just say this last bit because this will be recorded and passed through. It's how in 25, 26, 27 are businesses such as Coldrite going to use AI? And working with a small digital business is not going to work for you. There's a clear break because it's a technical skill set between the current digital marketing industry, which is made up of smaller operators, and the future of the digital marketing industry, which is really going to consolidate around businesses who have the skill set at the top, because it isn't like it used to be that you can just start up a digital marketing company and away you go. You actually need to build data lakes and have the information being dropped into a BigQuery or Google Cloud account. Then you need compute to send over to the AI, and then you need to massage the data from there. Well, that's not, you don't wake up in the morning and know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll just stop the recording now so
thanks
that